college games? Really? Is that where the Eagles are getting their self-scouting? College games?
Well, college is
aren't they supposed to be running an NFL offense? There are many people that suggest their offense is too simplistic. Who was it who said? Oh, Seth Joyner on the Eagle postgame show. College? No. They'd have to advance to be a college offense. This is a high school offense they're running right now. I'm Matt Guys here with you on Birds 365 as we lead up to a trip to Vegas. That's usually a whole lot of fun, but there are people that go to Vegas and lose. They don't want to admit to it, but it does happen, and the Eagles are a 3-point underdog. They are an underdog, but it's only 3 points, and if you believe what gamblers tell you, and I know I've been one for a long time, and have followed the art of gambling closely for 50 years. 3 points is supposed to be the advantage you get for being the home team. And right this week, we know the Raiders are the home team games being played in Vegas. So that means on a neutral field, these two teams would be a coin flip.
Yeah, I said the same thing, Jody. That surprised me. I think that's some Gruden stuff thrown in there. I think if that controversy didn't happen, I think if Rick Bisaccia wasn't the head coach, John Gruden was still there, you never had any of that off the field nonsense. I think they'd be probably a 6-point favorite. So I think a lot of it is related. I can't think of it. Can you think of another reason?
Right, but even that doesn't add up to me, because if it had all come down this week and they were dealing with it all this week, and they did just hit everybody that they don't have John Gruden anymore and there are issues with that organization this week. They played last week. They beat the Denver Broncos
and they
week.
Played well.
They actually won somewhat easily. Denver got a late score that made the final score look closer than it actually was. They dealt with the Gruden mess pretty damn effectively last week.
Yeah, but you know that theory that sometimes you say, all right, everybody thinks we're going to fall apart. We have this early spike and they're really focused and they want to prove something. Then it settles in, and maybe the next week is when all the shoes drop and you look terrible. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know, because otherwise, how are the Raiders? Yeah, I mean, if you're saying these are even teams on a neutral field, and that's what that line says, I mean, I just don't agree with that at this point. Not that the Raiders are great, but they should be 4 or 5, shouldn't they?
Well, but here's the one thing I'll say, and different people have different opinions on this from the wagering community. Some people believe the line is telling you something. That if something looks too good to be true, chances are it's not. I believe that from time to time, not often, but from time to time, Vegas just puts out a bad line. It happens. I'll give you an example of it. There's one game last week that I played that was as easy as could be. The Rams were a 10-point underdog going into New York to take on the Giants. Well, the Giants, A, stink, and B, were all beat up. And the Rams had proven that they could go on the road and win. They were one of the best teams in the NFL. So I thought the line was short. I thought it should be more than 10 points, even though the game was being played in New York. Well, Daniel Jones was an unknown till I think it was Saturday that he was going to play or not. When they made the announcement that Jones was going to play, the line actually came down to 8.5. And I said, thank you very much. I'll give you the 10. I'll sure as hell only give you the 8.5, because I don't know, Daniel Jones going into the lineup actually improves the Giants' chances to be competitive. Guess what? They didn't. And the Rams went up and down the field against them, and the Giants did nothing offensively, and it was a blowout. And if you believe that, you looked at that line, you would have said, oh, the line's telling me something. I better take the Giants. Good luck with that. You got views. So I can't figure out why the Eagles are only. Your philosophy is probably on board that it's the week after effects of John Gruden. I don't know that that's the case. It seemed to me like Rich Bisaccia had a pretty good grasp on it, that the Raiders rallied, that I think they can actually build off something like that rather than having peaked and valleyed. I just think it's a flat out bad line.
I'm not an expert on that part of it, but I will say it surprised me. I expected the Raiders to be a little bit get a little bit more respect as far as being a 4-2 team versus a 2-4 team coming in. On the other hand, though, I look at this game and I say, well, it's not overwhelming if the Eagles figure some things out on their mini bye. I think this is a winnable game. I don't expect them to win, but it wouldn't. I wouldn't fall over in shock and surprise if they won the football game. I don't think the Raiders are that kind of team. I don't think the Raiders are the Bucs or the Chiefs or even the Cowboys. If you look in the rearview mirrors, so I think it's winnable, sort of like I thought Carolina was winnable. And that was a close, tight game where they needed to come back to win. And maybe playing on the road helps the Eagles. I don't think they want to be at home right now.
Okay, yeah, they have not fared well at home. Let me follow up on your extra week to bone up, self-scouting that the Eagles had the possibility to do this week because of the Thursday night game against Tampa. I know you addressed it when you, as a group, had a chance to talk to Nick Sirianni. I was really intrigued by his answer because at first he seemed, when he was questioned on it, well, I'm not going to tell you guys anything. Off the record, maybe I'll tell you something. You can't say I'll go off the record while you're on the record, while you're on video. You can't say I'll go off the record, Nick. It doesn't work, which, again, he's still growing as a head coach in the National Football League and how he handles the media. But then he broke down and said, well, I can give you one. That Tampa thing last week. The
Jacksonville.
Did I say Tampa? I'm sorry, Jacksonville. Thank you for correcting me. They looked like they were going to go to a Hail Mary in the end zone.
By the way, he got it wrong, too. He got it wrong. He said they clocked it. No, they had a timeout.
No, that's how they were able to kick the field goal because the receiver made the catch. I was watching at the time, and he went down and immediately called the timeout with 1 second left where they could try the field goal. They did. They made it. They won. They got their first win and ended the second longest losing streak in the history of the National Football League, which is nice that Nick noticed it and found out about it. He was probably, I don't know about him, he should have been watching live on Sunday morning. I don't know why he'd have to go back and self-scout it and break down video. What the hell were you doing on Sunday morning on a Sunday you're not playing, Nick?
Well, no, he was telling the whole story about how his coaches, they text back and forth about game situations and how they learn certain from college games, pro games. And he was given that Jacksonville. That was interesting. I think everybody thought they were going to go Hail Mary. There wasn't enough time. It was 4th and 8, too. It was 4th down. So not only do you have to throw the ball, you got to get 9 yards. You got to get 8 yards. And you got to do that in 4 seconds. If you want to call the timeout, they had timeouts, obviously. Now, Nick said they clocked it. That's what I was joking about. They didn't clock it. They had a timeout. And it worked out for Jacksonville because they don't have Justin Tucker. They're not going to make, it would have been a 62-yard field goal. They were at the 44 at 4th and 8. They had to get a first down. So they did a good job with it. End of game management. And again, they had a timeout, so that helped. But you don't think about good job from Urban Meyer too much, but they did a good job with it. And Darrell Bevell was who Nick mentioned. So he's just talking about his coaches watching other games, texting each other, having the text chain. Oh, did you see what happened here? Learning game management. I don't know. I like when Nick tells those stories. I don't want to criticize him for telling those types of stories because I think it takes the fans inside sort of how these guys do things and how these guys operate. But I mean,
Well, hold
maybe
on.
have a game management coach. Maybe
I,
that.
I'm
Maybe
I'm
I
glad
don't
you
know.
you feel that way, that you're getting all warm and cuddly about Nick, but I will question some of the things he's saying, like I did. That hold on, let me tell you something off the record. I just stand in front of a live microphone and camera. Doesn't work that way. And also, college games, really? Is that where the Eagles are getting their self-scouting? College games?
Well,
Isn't
college is
aren't they supposed to be running an NFL offense? There are many people that suggest their offense is too simplistic. Who was it who said, oh, Seth Joyner on the Eagle Postgame Show. College? No. They'd have to advance to be a college offense. This is a high school offense they're running right now. When you're getting critiques like that, do you come out and admit, well, yeah, we're watching college games and texting back and forth as a coaching staff? Did you see this in this game? That's not supposed to help the Eagles on Sundays during this year, John McMullen.
Yeah, well, this is the problem I have with Nick and Jonathan Gannon, and I think it speaks to their inexperience and that their messaging is poor at times, because there are people going to take it that way, and there are people, you know, in the NFL, I talk about it all the time. It's the only trickle up industry in the world. The innovation trickles up, so actually they're doing more innovative things at the college level than the pro level. Now, the issue comes in, though, they're also, there's a reason there's so many RPO offenses in college, because you're trying to, two things. You're trying to gimmick up. It really goes back to Appalachian State and Michigan. If you remember that huge upset that was really the crux of it all. Where obviously Michigan was great at the time, expected to destroy a team that just had the same athletes, the same physicality, and they came out with this, RPO spread offense, and Michigan didn't know what to do, and they evened the playing field. Navy had been doing it for years with the triple option, and teams in Army and teams like that who do that. The NFL is different. Everybody's got the same level of talent, so it comes down to who executes better, and more than that, who can teach better in the allotted time they have. We talk about all the time the scale back practice time. Everybody's got that scale back practice time. So who can teach better in that short framework to get players up to speed? And a lot of people have gone the route of, well, let's go college. Let's make it more simple, because we don't have time. We don't have time to be Bill Walsh. So let's make it more simple. That's what the Eagles seem to be going. It's what Chip Kelly tried to do and had some success early until people started adjusting. Is it good? Is it bad? I always talk about from an aesthetic standpoint, it's really bad. But are you going to win football games? If they start winning football games, it's probably not going to be a problem for most people, to say the least.
This is a broad brush statement. I get it. And you could give me a couple of examples where it actually has worked. But the two most successful coaches in the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, in one guy's case, back it up 20 years, in the National Football League are Andy Reid and Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
When did either of those two ever go to the college offense?
No, but they both, that's the beauty of Bill Belichick and Andy Reid. They both are, it's ironic because they're so old, and people, I got knocked by Tony Khan for being old this week, but
whoa!
I'll tell you that story. But
I need that story like now. I'll let you finish your answer, but know full well you're going to give me that story next.
We were talking about wrestling, and Tony got upset because I criticized his product. So he said, "You're not my demo," because he gave me an age shot. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. So when you talk about I think it's ironic that they're two of the oldest coaches in the NFL. They're the two most innovative. I talk about it all the time. Before anybody around the country knew who the heck Chip Kelly was, Bill Belichick loved the guy, was diving into what he was doing from an offensive perspective. and tried to bring tempo to his offense, which he was able to do. I also talk about it all the time. He was also smart enough to, and I'm talking about Bill, to filter out the stupid stuff in Chip Kelly's offense. Like, he had Tom Brady, so there's a luxury where you can put your foot on the gas, you can take it off the gas. You have a quarterback who's smart enough to do it. Andy Reid was the first guy who brought in that guy. I forget his name. I wish I remember it, from Nevada with the pistol offense. He was one of the first with that.
How long did that last?
Oh, but innovative people, they don't stop. Okay, maybe it didn't last long. They're on to the next thing. But the point is, no, Bill Belichick and Andy Reid have been taking stuff from college for years and years and years. They just have better filters. They have better filters than the guys who say, I'm just going to run what the Eagles are running. I'm just going to run it. There's no filter there. Andy Reid runs RPOs all the time. There's the filter with everything else.
Yeah, but he moves on pretty quickly. Both of them are very open-minded as head coaches, and it's part of what makes both of them great. But they take the little dab that they need, they put it on film, they make another team think about it, and then they just move on and they don't stick to it. They don't try and overdo it. That's why they are as good as they are. How did you piss off Tony Khan?
Oh, I said he had a bad business plan.
Now, wait a minute. When you said, where did you say? Did you call Tony Khan? Do you have his personal number?
No.
Do you guys FaceTime when you speak on the phone? You got to give us more details than
I
said to Tony Khan.
Yeah, well, mainly, the stuff that Tony gives me is off the record, so I can't talk about it. But I just put on Twitter, I said, AEW I was talking about, which we're not, it's a bad business plan. He got upset about that. I just think
now I'm going to beat up on you. How is it bad? They're doing well. They're growing fast. No one is taking a shot at Vince in years, and they're doing so, and they're doing well with it.
Tony has dumped about 9 figures into that company. So we're over $100 million that he has dumped in to get that company started. Now, most people, Tony has the luxury, his father's worth $6 billion or so. Right. Obviously, Tony has the luxury to withstand those losses. So I just said, common sense. If you're a very wealthy individual, and you want to dump $100 million into something, there are easy ways to make money in this world than pro wrestling. So right off the bat, I said, this is a bad business. This you're trying to take on Coke, that's already entrenched and already has billion-dollar TV contracts. That's not a good business plan. You can go make money in multiple different companies in an easy fashion. Now, the beauty about Tony, for wrestling fans, he loves that industry. He loves it. It's his passion. The Jaguars aren't his passion. That gets him in trouble. Fulham, the soccer team he and his father own over in England, that's not his passion. He owns True Media. That's not his passion. Analytics. Pro wrestling is his passion. But if he's honest, and if Tony's watching this show, which he's not because he's too busy, he runs 15 different companies, he knows there's easier ways to make money. That's not a controversial statement at all.
It probably isn't, but you're a wrestling fan. I'm a wrestling fan. I wish it could be my passion, too. I wish I could.
I wish
$100 million to dump into it. It's not the worst thing in the world.
No, Shad. I wish Shad Khan was my father.
Who's your daddy? Shad Khan. Yeah, sure. That's a good thing.
Shad gave Tony and his sister, true story. This I can say because Tony has said it. He said he loves his kids, Shad, and he's really supportive of Tony. And it's one of the reasons he can do what he does. So he said, you guys are going to inherit a lot of money. You might as well blow some of it while I'm here. And Shad himself said, don't do it. Don't do it. don't start a wrestling company, but he loves it and he did it. My only point is, he's got these wrestling reporters snowed, man, and he doesn't like me because I'm an NFL reporter and I ask questions, and I'm like, because he's got him saying you're winning 18-49 demos, and he's got him saying, I'm going to make money in 2022, and I said, Tony, that's fiscal year. You've dumped nine figures into this. When are you going to make $1 of profit? He doesn't like that.
Okay, giving him some harsh realities. I like the product. I enjoy the product, and I think
that's a different conversation.
Here's the conversation I'd like to have with Mr. Khan. Did you know ahead of time when you started investing all this money and got in bed with TNT, which isn't a bad place to be? It's just as good as USA, wherever, and they splintered off the Fox and their whole pay-per-view thing. The NFL is more of an octopus, has more. The WWE has more tentacles than does AEW. But did he know that TNT was going to jump into the hockey business, so that his show was going to be relocated to Saturday night when it was on Wednesday night? And I'm sorry, Saturday night is just not as good a night. That's where I think he's taking it. If I'm going to get on Tony Khan's case, I'm going to get on his case in that he signed a contract with TNT, which gave them the ability to move the show from the night that it was on. You built up an audience over 2 years, and by the way, we got hockey now. See you, get to Saturday night. That's where I would criticize Tony Khan.
No,
the fact that he's following his passion and spending a lot of money for good wrestlers.
No, that's part of it. I mean, TNT, and they're moving to TBS because of that in January. Look, Tony only got. We're going to get yelled at for talking about wrestling, but Tony only got the TNT contract because he's close friends with the guy who runs TNT. That's the only reason he got it. So it wasn't a high-profile deal. In fact, their first deal, which I broke the story, by the way, was no rights fees whatsoever. They got production fees. It's about $26 million in production fees. Then they were having some success, and TNT came back to him and said, all right, you're doing some good ratings for us. This is good. This is cost-effective for us. We're going to give you a bump. We're going to give you $43.5 million. Now I'm getting way too into the muck here, which sounds great. And this is why he sold this to the wrestling reporters. And I said, yeah, but Tony, that doesn't include production fees. So he got $43.5 million. He could sell it to certain people. He really got $15 to $20 million on top of what the production fees, because now he had to produce. And by the way, he's not producing those shows at $500,000 a week. He's going over production. It is a money pit.
Yeah, that's why Tony cut. He's going to stop talking to you, McMullen.
Oh, he already has. Yeah, he already has for months and months and months. Then he got mad, and then he likes me in the end. He likes me in the end. He likes me because I'm honest.
I like McMullen too, and I'll spend 40 more minutes with him. And yes, I promise when we come back, Eagles, Raiders, how the hell are they going to stop Darren Waller? Somebody's got to explain that to me. We'll come back, and I'll try and get out of J Mac next year on Birds.